In this lecture, let's cover the jump animation. In the locomotion state machine, let's right-click, create an animation state. Let's name the new state jump. Let's get into it. We have two animations for the jump state. When the player is going up, we want to use the jump up animation. When the player is falling down, we want to use the jump down animation. So we need a way to select between two animations. Fortunately, this is very easy to do with Paper ZD. Let's search for a node called Select Animation, and we need this Boolean version. This node needs a Boolean input to determine which animation to play. Let's set up the animations first. Let's search for Player Jump Up. Connect it to the true animation input. So only when the Boolean input is true, this animation is going to play. Next, we need the player jump down animation. Connect it to the false animation input. Let's connect the select animation node to the output. Alright, now we need to make a Boolean value for the condition. To do this, we need the velocity of the player. Let's drag in the movement component first. Get the velocity from it. We should only focus on the vertical velocity. Let's break the velocity vector into three values. The z value here represents the vertical velocity. Let's check if this value is greater than 0. Then we can connect it to the select value input. So when this is true, the jump up animation is going to play. Otherwise, we get the jump down animation. We don't need to worry about the case when the vertical velocity equals 0. Because when we are in this jump state, we already know the player is airborne. Alright, this is the entire graph for your reference. Let's go back to the locomotion state machine. Let's add two transitions from the idle state and the run state to the jump state. Let's work with the rules of the transitions. Let's start with this transition first. It's actually very easy to know when the player is not on the ground. Let's just drag in the movement component, and we call a function on it. The function is called isFalling, but be aware that the function we need is this one under movement. When the return value is true, we know the player is not on the ground. Let's connect the return value to the result node. So the player is going to switch to the jump state when it's jumping or when it falls down from the platform. Before we go, let's also copy these two nodes. Alright, let's go back to cover another transition. Let's paste the nodes here. Just connect the return value to the result, since we just need the same rule here from the transition from the run state to the jump state. Then let's go back to the locomotion state machine. Let's create the transition from the jump state back to the idle state. Then for the transition rule, we can reuse the same nodes. But this time, we want to reverse the return value with the not Boolean node. So true is going to become false, and false is going to become true. Then we connect it to the result node. So in this case, we are going to go back to the idle state when the player is not falling anymore. Let's copy these nodes, then go back to the locomotion state machine. Create another transition from the jump state back to the run state. Let's paste the nodes here. Be aware that we are using the not Boolean node. Let's connect and test the game. Alright, I think all of the animations are working. The only problem is that the animations for the jump state are looping. We do not want them to loop. So let's go back to disable the looping. Let's go to the jump state. Select the two play animation nodes. We just need to disable the loop animations for them. Alright, now the two animations should not be looping. Now everything looks good, and let's wrap up this lecture.